Hey guys, I just wanted to pop on here real quick and give y'all an update on how I'm doing health wise. I went today for a follow up with my doctor, and they did another chest X ray, and they told me that in the bottom portion of my left lung, still have pneumonia clinging on, and I'm on my fourth day of I'm on my fourth day of my antibiotics and my steroids. I've got like 2 days worth of steroids and another like week and a half worth of antibiotics left over. Um, and and I still cough, and you can tell by my voice, and it hurts to talk. A majority of the time. But I wanted to get on here and just give you guys a little bit of a health update with what's going on with the pneumonia. And I wanted to play a video I recorded earlier, and I hope you guys like it. Hey, what's up, guys? Tonight I want to get into the motion to suppress and memorandum support Pennsylvania search warrant for a white Hyundai Elantra. Comes now, Brian C. Koberger, by and through his attorneys of record, and hereby submits the following memorandum in support of his contemporaneously filed motion for an order suppressing all evidence gathered by law enforcement uh, as a result of the entry into and search of Mr. Koberger's vehicle. Now, personally, I believe that the warrant that they used to search his vehicle was an illegal warrant. This court should apply Idaho's exclusionary rule and law into this search. Pennsylvania law enforcement violated Mr. Koberger's Fourth Amendment rights by entering and searching his vehicle without a valid warrant. The affidavit submitted in support of the application for the issued search warrant recklessly or intentionally omitted material information. The affidavit submitted in support of the application for the issued search warrant included information that must be excised. All information in the affidavit was gathered because of law enforcement's unconstitutional use of investigative genetic genealogy, and thus nothing in the warrant should remain. Information about the client's locations taken from his phone must also be excised due to being gathered from an invalid warrant. Now, see, here we're talking about the IGG again. If you remember, Dawn Daniels, when she applied for the search warrant for Brian's apartment there in Pullman, also applied for the search warrant without using the IGG because she had a feeling that the IGG would possibly be thrown out at a later date. So, well, like it says right here, law enforcement's unconstitutional use of the investigative genetic genealogy, and thus nothing in the warrant should remain. If Don Daniels can do a search warrant without using the IGG, why can't Pennsylvania you do a search warrant without using the IGG? Due to the haphazard way in which law enforcement has kept and disclosed records in this matter, the following are the facts as best the defense can tell. On December 28, 2022, Trooper Leary of Pennsylvania State Police became aware of the objective of arresting Mr. Koberger via the Moscow Police Corporal Payne. On December 29, 2022 at 4:44 p.m., a magistrate in Pennsylvania issued a search warrant for Mr. Koberger's vehicle. On December 29th at 2022 p.m., the magistrate in this matter signed an arrest warrant for Mr. Koberger in Latah County. The affidavit for the warrant was signed by Moscow Police Department Detective Payne. The basic facts Payne used to support the search are described in a separately filed motion pursuant to Franks versus Delaware. The facts and issues are incorporated herein without repeating them. At 2:43 p.m. on December 29th, a criminal complaint and probable cause order was filed in this matter. At 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time and 7 p.m. Pacific Time, Pennsylvania SWAT began preparations to arrest Mr. Koberger. Despite weeks of constant FBI surveillance, Pennsylvania law enforcement did their own surveillance starting at 11:15 p.m. And that was Eastern Daylight Time. And despite the facts that weeks of constant FBI surveillance showed Mr. Koberger was unarmed, intended to go for runs around his parents' neighborhood, police decided attacking Mr. Koberger within his parents' home was the best option. Okay, really, was it the best option? Couldn't they have taken him like while he was out on the run or out on the hike? Like it's stated right here. Surveillance showed Mr. Koberger was unarmed, intended to go for runs in his parents' neighborhood. So why couldn't they get him while he was out for a run in his parents' neighborhood? Why did they decide to destroy his parents' home? See, that's what I don't get, guys. Why would they destroy his parents' home? If they had another viable option of arresting him, and just, like the FBI has stated, he went for runs in his parents' neighborhood. Why not take him that way? Why wait until he's in his parents' home and do that pre-dawn damn raid, destroying his parents' house? And they even stated he was unarmed. Were they trying to say, okay, well, if you did this in the pre-dawn hours, we're going to do it to you? And that sounds really, really petty, guys. It does. It sounds very freaking petty. Why would you want to destroy his parents' home just to take his butt down? Why couldn't you get him while he's out on his run? This court should apply all. Okay, on December 30th, 2022, at 1:14 a.m., Pennsylvania SWAT and federal agents raided Mr. Koberger's parents' home. During the raid, law enforcement found Mr. Koberger's vehicle in the garage, seized it, and later searched it. Okay, they seized it and then later searched it. Well, I'd be applying. I would be applying for a very valid search warrant for the vehicle. I wouldn't just seize it and search it. That would be construed as illegal search and seizure. If you're going to seize it and then search it, that's what it would be construed as: illegal search and seizure. This court should apply Idaho's exclusionary rule and law to this search. The first question this court must determine is whether there is a conflict of laws in this matter and whether Idaho law or Pennsylvania laws, the validity of the search warrant for Mr. Koberger's automobile and necessary relief, unlike the issue of arrest warrants. Cases involving multi-state investigations have produced far less case law. In fact, the defense could not find a precise point for the state of Idaho. The issue, however, has received some attention in academia. Professor Kerr argued that his article for the Harvard Law Review that the jurisdiction where the crime occurred should control the investigation is done, but that states and or the federal government should provide some form of authorization to each other to participate in each other's criminal investigations or incur cross enforcement of the Fourth Amendment. As it stands, there are at least 5 different approaches to the increasingly common situation. Fortunately for the court, Idaho and Pennsylvania do not differ in their approaches to the enforcement of the Fourth Amendment. Fourth Amendment analog provisions. Both do not accept the good faith exception. Thus, this court can likely afford to leave as an open question which forum's exclusionary rule applies. However, it is clear from the grounding of the exclusionary rule in Article 1, Section 17, that evidence obtained in violation of the Constitution must include. Thus, Mr. Koberger argues that the Idaho Constitution exclusionary rule must apply, and its basis lies not only in deterring police misconduct, and yes, there is a whole bunch of police misconduct in this, guys, because exclusion of constitutionally mandated and judicial integrity demands it. However, it remains to be determined whether the actions of the FBI and the Pennsylvania State Troopers should be viewed through the lens of Article 1, Section 17, or its analogs. It is not at all clear whether a search should be judged by Idaho standards or reasonableness, or that Pennsylvania, or in the case the FBI agents by the Fourth Amendment, as noted, Professor Kerr would have Idaho's reasonableness apply in that the FBI and the Pennsylvania State Troopers were acting under its authorization. This approach must also mesh with the older cases, such as U.S. versus DIRE, and that was 1948, looking to the laws of the state where the defendant was arrested in the absence of a federal permitting, in the absence of a federal law permitting the arrest by a federal agent for a federal law violation. In this matter, Idaho authorities requested assistance from the FBI and the Pennsylvania State Police Thus, this court should be required to apply Idaho's search and seizure law to their actions in Pennsylvania. However, the concept has its detractors. McGlynn argues that when the CITES officer is performing the search, they should only be held by upholding their own laws. While that position has merit, as it does not require a citrus officer to get a rundown of the differences between their law and the trial state's laws, it remains that the Idaho Constitution is not merely concerned with deterrence to officers who misbehave. Moreover, it is of concern that such rule would permit forum shopping. After all, if Idaho law enforcement may take advantage of a laxer restrictions in a different state, they may be simply pause their investigation until their suspect is in the new jurisdiction, or in the case of the FBI, state law enforcement could at any point, even within Idaho, call upon federal agents with the far laxer rules of the Fourth Amendment. Finally, it must be said that there is very little daylight between the Idaho Constitution and the Pennsylvania Constitution. If anything, Pennsylvania appears to have more stricter warrant requirements for particularity. Commonwealth versus Grossman. Pennsylvania law enforcement violated Mr. Kohberger's Fourth Amendment rights by entering and searching his vehicle without a valid warrant. And yes, I do believe that they did illegal search and do an illegal search and seizure on his vehicle without a valid warrant. And I wholeheartedly, I do believe that if he's in Pennsylvania and the killings happened in Idaho, Idaho would have would be the controlling state running the investigation. So why is Pennsylvania and the FBI doing their own independent crap with the with the arrest warrant? And yeah, because you have Payne up in Idaho with the arrest warrant, and then they're transferring it to Pennsylvania to arrest him. So why didn't they go ahead and do the arrest warrant? They're in Pennsylvania. With Idaho running the show, they could have had Pennsylvania do the arrest warrant, do the search warrant, and it just feels like it's Keystone Cops. It feels like the FBI don't trust the Moscow Police Department because the FBI refuses to turn over the CAS report. And then you have Mallory basically copy and paste and everything from Blaker's affidavits, and that's fishy as all hell. And then you have Mallory not doing the full CAS report, and you had Cyray state that without the AT&T tower logs, that the CAS report is just a piece of paper. And you have Brett Payne stating that he lets people smarter than him finish his work. Okay, so exactly why should we believe anything coming out of the MPD? Because clearly they are in way over their heads with this case. They really are. They're in way over their heads. Because if you look at it, They're a bunch of small town college cops who enjoy harassing college kids for bogus ass noise complaints. And this was the first time a quadruple murder has ever happened in Moscow in a long time. And I actually believe what Steve G said at one point, that they are in way over their heads. Rosendahl, Payne, Blaker, Mowry, they're all in way over their heads with this case. Look at Chief Fry. He retired. Look at Chief Lanier. He retired. Look at the judge, John's judge. He retired. Pennsylvania law enforcement violated Mr. Koberger's Fourth Amendment rights by entering and searching his vehicle without a valid warrant. Okay. Police cannot search a vehicle within the curtilage of a home without a warrant. Mr. Koberger's vehicle was in his parents' garage in a home where he was an overnight guest. Overnight guests have an expectation of privacy in the home where they stay. Therefore, he had an expectation of privacy in the contents of his vehicle, and a warrant was required. Okay. So that right there says that they basically seized his car in his parents' garage and searched the car without a warrant in his parents' garage. That's complete and utter bullshit, I believe. I do. How are you going to search a vehicle without a search warrant? That would be illegal search and seizure. It would. And just like with the IGG, why, if you're surveilling Mr. Koberger, the FBI, and you're seeing this guy put his trash in the neighbor's trash can, why not go get his trash out of the neighbor's trash can? Why get his dad's trash out of their trash can? If you're sitting there, surveilling this guy and watching him put his trash in the neighbor's trash can, why not just fucking go and get it? There's just something with this case, guys. There really is. There's something with this case. If you think he did it, go get his damn trash out the neighbor's damn trash can. Don't take his dad's trash. You're sitting there watching him, dumbasses. For a search warrant to be valid, the judge issuing the warrant must rely on an affidavit or affidavits sworn to before the judge or by testimony under oath and recorded that established the grounds for issuing the warrant, State versus Nunes. Any discrepancy between the items for which there was probable cause and their description in the search warrant requires suppressions. It is clear that the issuing magistrate himself, he is to fulfill the constitutionally mandated function of interposing an independent intelligence between the law enforcement officer and the citizen, must actually and in fact draw the interference from the evidence presented to him. It is for this reason that the courts have insisted the full facts from which inferences might be drawn and information necessarily to determine the reliability he places before the issuing magistrate. Finally, a criminal defendant must challenge the veracity of an affidavit used to obtain a search warrant. Upon a preliminary showing of a warrant's deficiency, the defendant must prove by preponderance of the evidence that international or reckless falsehoods were included in the uh, warrant affidavit and were material to the magistrate's finding of probable cause, or that material exculpatory information was deliberately or recklessly omitted. An omission of exculpatory facts is material only if there is a substantial probability that had the omitted information been presented, it would have altered the magistrate determination on probable cause. Whether an omission was intentional or reckless might be inferred, in part from the relative importance of the information, its exculpatory power. The challenge pursuant of this section of the motion is separately laid out in Mr. Kohberger's motion for hearing under Franks. The motion and proffer are incorporated but not repeated herein. The affidavit submitted in support of the application for the issued search warrant included information that must be excised. Where information in a warrant was obtained via violation and Constitution, Idaho courts excised that information. Mr. Kohberger has argued in a separate motion that the genetic genealogy investigation in this matter was done in violation of the Constitution. Additionally, he has argued that there would be no investigation into him without the original constitutional violation. It is not that the result of the IGG sped up the investigation. Instead, they focused the investigation on Mr. Kohberger, a person whose only connection to this case was his mode of transportation and the shape of his eyebrows, two identifications of little to no value. And previously argued, as the Idaho Supreme Court explained, while the initial burden is showing a factual nexus between the illegality and the evidence, the state must show it would have been discovered anyway. The state cannot make this showing without IGG. There is no case, no request for his phone records, right there. No request for his phone records. Surveillance of his parents' home. No DNA taken from the garbage outside, because the IGG analysis is the origin of the matter. Everything in the affidavit should be excised. Now, see, where she states no DNA taken from garbage out front. What she's talking about, guys, is his DNA was not taken. Sorry, I got some so sick. His DNA was not taken from out front. His dad's DNA was taken from out front. That's what she's talking about. Separately, the information gathered via the warrant for Mr. Kohberger's AT&T account and the pin trap and trace device warrant should be excised for the reasons set out in those warrants. Mr. Kohberger's request this court suppress all evidence obtained by police via the warrant that permitted them to search his car. As explained above, the warrant lacked probable cause as written. Now, what do you guys think? Do you guys think it lacked probable cause? I think it lacked probable cause. Let me know down in the comments, guys. I really think it lacked probable cause. This entire case lacks probable cause. It's all a circumstantial evidence case. That's all it is. Circumstantial evidence. Yep. Like always, guys, like, subscribe, and comment on my channel. Hit that bell notification for any new uploads. And sorry I was coughing during the video. I'm still a bit sick from this pneumonia. You guys have a good Thanksgiving Eve, and I hope you all have a happy and safe Thanksgiving tomorrow. This is Robert with True Crime Podcast. I'm out, guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Peace. Okay, Andy, how do you figure it's not circumstantial evidence? It is a circumstantial evidence case. And you're welcome, Love Tina. Everything about this case is jacked up to the moon. And it is, too. Yeah, but you have Don Daniels there in Pullman who got the search warrant without using the IGG because she knew the IGG would eventually be thrown out. Thank you, Shauna. See, personally, Andy, yeah, I mean, we can agree to disagree. Yeah, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. My opinion is he's innocent. He's being set up.
This is the brand new Remarkable Paper Pro. There's no TikTok, no
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
Hey guys, what I want to talk to you about today is, could there have been a second person in the house the night of the killings? Now we've all heard that the manner of in the 8 minutes that it took one person to kill 4 people. We've all heard it could have been more than one person. Well, here's what I have to say to that. What if there was somebody down in that empty room, which was 1A? What if someone was hiding down in there? And then they gave the how can I say? They gave the go ahead by flipping the breakers and shutting off all the lights in the place. Could that have been the go ahead to commence the attack? Quite possibly.
Attention retirees, if you're willing to be at your computer from 9 a.m. to 10:45 a.m. on most weekdays, I can show you one simple trade that could potentially bankroll your retirement.
Because we all hear the naked man theory, how Bethany sees a naked man running past her window. Well, I've been thinking about this, and we've all heard, "Oh, yeah, it's okay, I'm going to help you." Well, what if that wasn't said to the victim, but the second conspirator said that to his partner in crime? It's okay, I'm going to help you. You see where I'm coming from with this? You know, we all think of "it's okay, I'm going to help you" as a paramedic term or a law enforcement term. But what if this one time it's two partners in crime speaking to each other after they committed the murders, and the second conspirator comes in and said, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." And when Bethany sees the naked man, it could have possibly been when the second perp, let's just say, was putting everything into the bag for the first perp. You see where I'm coming from? Yeah, it's kind of loud over here today. And just like, we have the suppression of the IGG evidence, and they're stating that it was obtained illegally, which I do believe it was obtained illegally. But we're always hearing about the description, guys. We're always hearing about the description of the attacker: 5'10" or taller, athletically built, not muscular, bushy eyebrows. Well, if you think about it, if the proverbial breaker box switch is flipped off, how would she be able to see that in the house? You see where I'm coming from there? If the second perp who was down in the first bedroom flipped the breakers, she wouldn't be able to see nothing. So there goes her description. This entire case is full of oddities and holes and vagueness and everything else. Because we're always hearing the description by Dylan. Well, what if Dylan didn't see anything at all? And why would one man come into a house with 6 people just to kill one person, and they ended up killing 3 more? It makes you think there was a second perp involved. There was a second perp involved in this. Who it is, we do not know. We don't know who the second perp is. Could the second perp be the informant, even though we've heard that the IGG is the informant. There is something going on in this case that's really suspicious. And if you look at the case right now, it's falling apart. Since they moved the case out of Latah, it's falling apart.
DZ Comics and Gaming is your ultimate birthday destination. We have everything from console and PC games to arcade and virtual reality. Hop over to...
It truly is. Comes now Brian C. Koberger, Brian through his attorneys of record, and submits the following memorandum in support of his contemporaneously filed motion for an order suppressing all data found by law enforcement from its search warrant of his Amazon account and from his apartment as well. Motion to suppress memorandum of support RE search warrant for defendant's apartment. Comes now Brian C. Koberger by and through his attorneys of record and submits the following motion and memorandum in support of an order suppressing all evidence gathered by law enforcement as a result of the search warrant of his apartment located at 1630 North Valley Road, Pullman, Washington. The motion and documents in support of a Franks versus Delaware hearing are hereby incorporated into the memorandum. The proffer with supportive documentation regarding Franks are filed under seal for that reason. There are not set forth in full detail here, but instead are incorporated. The court should apply Idaho's exclusionary rule and law to the search. Affidavit submitted in support of the application for the issued search warrant recklessly or intentionally omitted material information, and it did. It recklessly and intentionally omitted material information. The affidavit submitted in support of the application for the issued search warrant included information that must be excised. All information in the affidavit we gathered because of law enforcement's unconstitutional use of investigative genetic genealogy, and thus nothing the warrant should remain. Information about the client's locations taken from his phone must also be excised due to being gathered from an invalid warrant. Due to the haphazard way in which law enforcement has kept and disclosed records in this matter, the following are the facts and are obtaining the search warrant for 1630 Northeast Valley Road. On December 28th, Trooper Larry of Pennsylvania State Police became aware of the objective of arresting Mr. Koberger via Moscow Police Corporal Brett Payne. Very interesting. On December 29th at 4:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, a magistrate in Pennsylvania issued a search warrant for Mr. Koberger's person. Now, mind you, issued a search warrant. On December 29th, 2022, at 2:22 p.m., the magistrate in this matter signed an arrest warrant for Mr. Koberger in Latah County. Now, you have Pennsylvania signing a search warrant, and you have Latah County signing an arrest warrant. The affidavit for the warrant was signed by Moscow Police Department Corporal Brett Payne. The basic facts Payne used to support the search were:
Need prescription eyewear fast? iBuyDirect ships hundreds of frames with 2-day delivery. iBuyDirect.com.
Kurt? Todd?
You hungry? Absolutely. Let's go.
Next to the body of Madison Mogen was a tan leather knife sheath. The Idaho State Lab later located a single source of male DNA on the button snap of the knife sheath. Footage from the King Road neighborhood showed what the police suspected was a vehicle of the killer. This white sedan lacked a front license plate. A vehicle specialist decided, based on the footage, that it was a 2011 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. A vehicle matching that description was spotted via surveillance in Pullman. It was later discovered that Mr. Kohberger drives a 2015 Hyundai Elantra, and he lived not far from the last place a white sedan was seen driving in Pullman over an hour later. The same specialist indicated that car seen in Pullman was a 2014 to 2016 Hyundai Elantra. Witness Dylan Mortensen had indicated the height of the person she saw at the time of the attack was 5'10" to 6 foot. See, now she didn't say that, guys. She didn't say that in the PCA. She didn't say 5'10" to 6 foot. She said 5'10" or taller. So exactly what's going on here? And they had bushy eyebrows. Police determined Mr. Kohberger fit that description. Now, if you look at it, guys, there was people there in Moscow who fit that description. Look at Saeed. He fit that description. When he was getting pulled over on Banfield for an alcohol stop, he had bushy eyebrows, and he was about 6 foot tall. Records from August 21st, 2022 traffic stop showed Mr. Kohberger was the driver of a white 2015 Hyundai Elantra with Pennsylvania plates lacking a front plate. It was also showed that he had the phone number ending in 8548. He noted investigators learned that this was an AT&T number. Mr. Kohberger had changed his vehicle registration in Washington on November 18th. Cell tower records did not show Mr. Kohberger was in Moscow at the time of the murders. In law enforcement experience, however, people committing crimes typically turn off their phones. Historical cell site location information, or CSLI, was obtained and given to a cellular analyst survey team, or CAST, with the FBI. The team determined that on November 13th, 2022, at approximately 2:42, Mr. Kohberger's phone was utilizing cellular resources that provide coverage to his apartment in Pullman. They support the idea that he left his apartment and went south. They supported the phone being off. Okay, I'd like to know with the whole cell site thing. How come old Mallory didn't complete the entire cast report? Can somebody answer me that? How come he didn't complete the entire cast report? And how come old Cy Ray stated that without the AT&T cell tower data, the cast report's just nothing but a piece of paper? Isn't that incompetence? isn't copying and pasting an affidavit from Blaker onto your own thing? Isn't that incompetence? Isn't Brett Payne stating on the witness stand that he always lets people smarter than him do his work? Isn't that incompetence? What exactly in this damn case is incompetence? I say it's all three of those things I just mentioned. I say, yeah, incompetence, if you really feel that this guy is the guy, then why let him drive clear across the damn country? You let him drive from Pullman, Washington, down through Loma, Colorado, because there was going to be a winter storm in Montana that weekend. So him and his dad decided that they would go around the storm and go south down through Loma, Colorado. And then you had not one, but two traffic stops by the Indiana State Police, and I do believe those were controlled traffic stops. Sorry, my voice is starting to go. Yeah, I believe those were controlled traffic stops. Because how are you pulled over 2 miles apart for the exact same thing? Tailgating. Answer me that. How? You're pulled over for following too close to a van. And then 2 miles later down the road, you're pulled over for the exact same thing. Don't tell me that wasn't a controlled stop, because it was. And you have the FBI watching his house. And they're saying that he's going out for runs and hikes and everything else. Exactly why would you decide to destroy a man's parents' home in the middle of the night in a pre-dawn raid, knowing the FBI told you that he was unarmed and he goes out for runs, he goes out for hikes? Why didn't you nab him when he was out for a run or for a hike? Why did you wait and destroy his parents' home? That sounds like incompetence to me. But I'm going to go ahead and get off here, guys. I'm going to go to bed. I'm starting to get short of breath. I hope you guys have a very good Thanksgiving. I'm going to try. I'm going to go take my inhaler. I have to do an inhaler now. Yeah, it sucks. I know. Yeah, they almost kept me Sunday night at the hospital because my oxygen level was 88 or 89. And they only let me go if I agreed to take an inhaler. And if the inhaler didn't work that night, I was supposed to go back to the hospital and get admitted. Well, thank God the inhaler worked. Thank God I had people praying for me. But you guys have a good Thanksgiving. And once my voice gets better, I'm going to try to do more live streams. This is Robert with True Crime Podcast. I'm out. You guys have a happy and safe Thanksgiving. Peace.